Radio on the Freeform Network. You can follow us on Facebook at Freeform Network, on Twitter at FFR Podcast. And remember to send your questions and suggestions to ffnquestions@gmail.com. We love seeing those emails come in, even from flat earthers. Again, this is Freeform Radio. We got many hosts here. We got Danny.
Yes, sir. Jesus, it's hot today, man. When's this breeze coming in through this window?
And we got Noel.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome.
And then we got It's All Good Andy. We're back in Adam. Another recording. Finally, it looks like summer's just around the corner. It's been a mild spring, but we're here in Chicagoland doing our thing. Like always, ready to share our experiences with you guys. So let's start off with Noel. I see you're on this Superman and Lois kick, and you're excited about them returning.
Yeah, so I don't know if you guys had a chance to check it out yet. It's on the CW, and it's about 5 episodes in now. The season had a really good start. I want to say they went like 3 or 4 episodes, but because of the coof, there was a bunch of delays, and so they had to like take a hiatus for about like almost 2 months, and it's really unheard of. It's not common for a new show in the first season to take a break within like the first month of showing all their episodes. So a lot of people were worried. They're like, man, is this gonna come back and be worse? Are they gonna make changes? Hopefully it comes back strong. And yeah, so the last episode came out. It's a Tuesday show. And I watched it. I was like, I hope it's still as good as it was. And yeah, it still has the same cinematic vibe. It's easily the best show on the CW right now. And it's a contender for probably being the best show that ever was on CW. Although they did have their occasional good show like Supernatural. I think they had a few of the like the Vampire Diaries originals and stuff like that.
Man, Smallville, man.
Smallville, you're right.
Oh,
yeah. There's some old shows that were good. But in recent times, man, it's been tough to find anything worthy of watching. So Superman and Lois is like a very nice return to a good show.
Yeah, I mean, I know there was a lot of Superman show reboots not reboots, Smallville, and now this. And I remember, I think on Sci-Fi they had I don't want to call it a Superman show, but around that mythology with Krypton. Did you ever get a chance to see that?
I think I saw the first. Yeah, it didn't do that well, man. I saw the first episode and it didn't really hook me. So I was like, let me see how it develops. And then it canceled. And I was like, all right, yeah, that's what I felt it was going to be.
Now, to me, man, you've been throwing out that great show vibe for these last couple podcasts. I mean, even the last podcast, you mentioned the best horror and the best animated. Now you're saying this is the best CW show. It's like, are you on a run of best shows right now, or are you smoking something different that's just making you feel like everything's the greatest?
Oh man, it could be a combination, but I have a feeling that if you really watch, and I don't even want to have you waste your time, dude. Like if you watch some of the CW shows, you can identify which one has higher quality. And what I like about Superman and Lois, just to quickly like give a little bit of info on it, is that it's not an episodic show where it's like lighthearted and mild mannered or whatever. Like it's gritty. It seems more real. It connects to like a real sense of like drama and suspense and wondering what's going to happen next. It deals with Superman having a son who has powers similar to his. Or starting to develop the powers. And after watching this show that I told you about, the animated one, Invincible, I'm making a lot of cool connections between that show and this one because it's similar. It's about a kid coming into his own with this power that his dad has, and it's a power that he's not used to having been a normal kid for his whole life up until this point. So it's a cool show. I know I'm like beating a dead horse by saying it's a cool show every time I come on here. I'm always talking about the good shows, but I think anybody who watches CW will identify that. The Flash, Legends of Tomorrow, Riverdale, Legacies, these shows, they're meant for a certain audience, and I'm sure they're getting those woke audiences, happy, satisfied. But when it comes to the regular OG comic book, enthusiasts, like we all, grew up being, I think Superman and Lois is the kind of show you guys can, dive into and not feel like you're wasting your time or like you regret watching it.
Right. I think Superman's on a hit right now, man, because he was the old Clark Kent, did a cameo in one of those. I forgot, it was like half a
The
year ago now. Yeah,
Crisis
the
on Infinite
Crisis.
Earths.
Yeah, right. So, man, I think Superman's stock is hot right now. I think this is probably the best time to release a show like this. And people always like the drama in the life just as much as the Superman being Superman. So I've always dug it. To me, Smallville is one of my favorite shows that I like watching. I've seen it twice through all the way, and there's some slow episodes, but man, it's a great show. I like the mythology, Superman. I really got to watch this show. I haven't seen it at all, but now that it's wrapped up, it's probably more incentive to kind of binge it and kind of watch it all.
Well, it's not completely wrapped up. I'll say it finished filming, I believe, but they're still showing weekly episodes. So
Oh,
there's
okay.
probably like another 5 or 10 or something like that at most.
Hey, and another quick little side note, man. I saw you yesterday, and I was really happy to see that, man. You're still buying comics, man. You're still supporting that industry, which is kind of dying out a little bit. People are going really digital, but it was good to see you buying graphic novels, comic books, and a few other things, and newer stuff too. So it's good that people out there are still supporting this industry.
No, yeah, you're right, man. It's tough right now. Comics are hitting an all-time low, and they're changing so many things that we grew up having in a certain way. It's like rewriting Hulk Hogan's legacy. Like you can't rewrite what was already written. It's done. You have to do something new. But people don't want to do that. They want to change things, and I'm not really vibing that the way they're changing a lot of the superheroes that I grew up with. So that's why, yeah, I bought this new Invincible compendium, dude. It's like a huge 1,000-page uh, Bible of Invincible's first four graphic novels, and I'm like, to me, this is like the first time that Batman came out and somebody bought this comic. They didn't know that it was gonna become what Batman is now. But to them, it was cool as hell, and it was something new. So to me, I'm like, what if this is like the new superhero that we can become like attached to, that 10 years from now there's a bunch of movies about Invincible and he's like one of the most popular new superheroes. So that's why I got it, and I got a lot of reading ahead of me.
No, for sure. I saw how thick that thing was, man. It's huge.
Yeah, I mean, I got to find something to keep me entertained, dude. Right now the video card market's really difficult to get a card, so I haven't been able to upgrade my computer in a few years, and right now I'm just waiting on these new LHR cards. I don't know if you guys have heard about these. It's a card that they're making specifically for just general applications. It's restricts the efficiency that the video cards had for mining, and a lot of people are in cryptocurrency right now. That's like a hot thing, so everybody's trying to mine and get some money out of this. And so that's why you see all these video cards being sold like ridiculous prices
Oh,
on eBay. It's because all these scalpers are trying to make money off of these miners, these crypto miners that are trying to get the best bang for their buck with the video cards. So anyway, these LHRs, they're going to be just, I think, a balancing mechanism to allow for more of the gamers to finally get their hands on these. And we'll see how it goes.
yeah, I bought some crypto a couple weeks ago, and I started researching exactly what it is. And when I heard people, oh yeah, they're mining for crypto, I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? And I saw, yeah, these computers and shit running like nonstop, using up energy, and like they got all these like fucking drives and cards and shit, and then they were like talking about the software they run on it to run these formulas to get the cryptocurrency, and I was like, damn. And like, I think a big market for it, a lot of people, it's like China, and then like depending on how much electricity, like certain parts of the country, they do it more. I think New York was like the next one, And yeah, it was kind of crazy. I didn't understand it, but I kind of get it now. But yeah, I just know you need a computer to run like 24/7.
Yeah, there's places where they have like just servers and servers and
Yeah,
just a bunch of video cards and all this other stuff. And dude, the temperature it drives up, it's crazy. Like
yeah,
it's a whole setup you need. These guys. So instead of like back in the day when this first started, I was thinking of getting a video card to mine. And then what I determined was that the best thing that I could do is probably invest in companies that mine. So there was a few companies. Riot Blockchain is one of them. For our listeners, if they want to take a look into it, it might be a little late now, but when the pandemic first hit in March last year, I want to say I bought up like probably like 1,000 shares or a couple hundred shares in the beginning, and it was like I think like $6 or $8 like that, something like that. It was pretty low actually. Uh, and then it right now it's at like in the 30s, but it rose as high as like 60. So there is money to be made in some of these companies, but it is becoming more difficult now the farther we get into it.
Yeah, I always thought I didn't even put 2 plus 2 together here for the video cards. I always thought it was that shortage that's affecting like the car market, that's
Oh yeah.
affecting these video cards. I never once thought that it was because people are mining for cryptocurrency that it's making it difficult and it's jacking up the prices on these video cards. I just thought that there was less being fabricated because of the shortages.
Well, that is a factor. No, you're right. That's a big part of it. But like the thing is, even with the shortage, if there wasn't like this whole big drive, like it's like a gold rush right now. So like for mining, so like if there wasn't this whole big like gold rush for mining, we'd have like a little bit more chance to get a card. But it's like right now, you got like literally, I signed up for this website. Uh, I think it's called nowinstock.net, and it has like a live like server that tells you when things are in stock, when a store or online website has this for sale, and like it gives you updates if you want it. You get to sign up for it. So literally, I would check it and see like, all right, when's the last time they sold a video card? And I was like, oh yeah, they had it in stock on Tuesday at like 4 p.m. And then I'm like, man, well, where did it sell out? Sold out like 5 minutes after. I'm like, there's no chance, dude. Like, who's gonna get a video card in 5 minutes on a website randomly?
yeah.
Right. I mean, when I got my PlayStation, I signed up to this Twitter thing, kind of similar to what you're saying, and it would get bought out in like 5 minutes. So as soon as you got that tweet, you needed to jump on, put it on your cart, have all your bank stuff ready, like your credit card and whatever, Best Buy, if you're using that. And so you had to be quick. So I imagine the video card market is the same.
Oh yeah, definitely. I tried a few times. I came close on Amazon, and every time I added it to my cart and try to check out, it would like say that, oh, this item is not available anymore. We don't know when it's going to be available. Redo your thing. So I just kept trying and trying. Yeah, it is what it is, man. I think, like I said, these LHR cards, they're gonna balance out the market hopefully, because the miners won't be able to take advantage of it. It's not gonna work the way they want it to, so it's gonna be more for the way I guess it was intended, which is like video applications and like processing and gaming, things like that.
I had never heard about this LHR thing. What makes it so different from like an NVIDIA graphics card?
So it's gonna apply, I think, to both NVIDIA and AMD. I
Right.
don't know all the details of how LHR will change the whole game or whatever, but it's it's got to be like some restriction to its ability to run these calculations. It's got to be like something along those lines where it's not allowing the video card to do the calculations that you need for mining in an efficient time manner.
Right.
So maybe it'll just be take twice as long or 3 times as long, so then people won't want those cards. They'll let it go for the gamers that can use it.
Yeah, it must be something like that because it must be that it still performs somewhat similar to the NVIDIA graphics cards or whatever, but it doesn't allow you to do this calculation things like Andy was mentioning, and just, mine for crypto all day, all night.
Yeah, man, and I was almost gonna like be willing to go to a store and wait out there the night before because I heard about some information where you could do this, and I was like, if I don't keep the card, maybe I could sell it. But then I'm like, it's it's a hassle to have to go through that, wait outside. And I'm like, nah, I'm not gonna do this. I'll wait until the LHRs come out. But yeah, that's pretty much where we're at with that. And Andy, let's switch it over to you, man. Let's switch gears here. You said you were rewatching an old show that I think all of us love, Sons of Anarchy.
Yeah, I started rewatching it during the week this past week because I don't know what else to fucking watch. So I popped it. It's on Hulu. I started watch the first episode, and yeah, it got me hooked in. So I'm about halfway through season one right now. My wife, she pretty much don't like that shit. It's too violent, too bloody. So yeah, I forgot the tellers and Moro and all that bullshit, and then the Mexicans and I guess that, I mean, you look at it now, that shows what, I think it came out in 2008. So what is that? It's what, 13 years old already? Like shit, man. So yeah, it's up there, and they're using like flip phones and stuff, and it's
Yeah.
fucking weird looking at it back now. Because usually when I run out of shit to watch, I rewatch something more. Like for a while, I was rewatching Entourage.
Oh
I
yeah,
rewatched
that's
The
true.
Sopranos like five fucking times. It's like I know each episode in and out. So I was like, I've been thinking because I watched the Mayans. I got like halfway through the first season. It didn't really keep me intrigued. But yeah, this show I forgot how good it was. So I've been going through some of that. So I mean, I don't know. I think you watched it, Danny. I don't remember if you ever watched it in a while.
Oh yeah, dude. I watched it later after it came out. I want to say like 5 years ago I watched it, and it was great. Loved it.
Yeah, man, Sons of Anarchy. That's a great show, and I'm still watching Mayans. I think Mayans is starting to get really good. It's in season 3, I think now, and this we're watching it as we speak, and the last episode left on a really good cliffhanger. So it's getting good, man. I don't know if it was a slow burn for you or didn't catch you, Andy, but I think if you go back to it, especially with the Sons of Anarchy, they're still involved in the Mayan show, so I think it's a great stepping stone, kind of like Better Call Saul was to Breaking Bad.
Yeah, well, exactly. Better Call Saul, or whatever. I was like, I got into that. It just when I got rid of cable, I haven't really been able to pick it up. And I saw, I think this season's the last season, or the season that wrapped up was the last season. I know they're gonna wrap it up,
Right? Yeah, they
and
got one more season in.
yeah, one more season in them, and they're done. Yeah, so yeah, I mean, those shows got me hooked. I mean, that was a great show. Breaking Bad was a great show. No, I was talking about great shows. Yeah, that's one of them. Like Mad Men. I mean, but yeah, I mean, when I run out of the new shit, because it's so TV now is. I mean, I don't even know if you call it TV. It's so weird. I mean, I just go back to old favorites and like I don't mind binge watching them and like Sopranos, Entourage. This time I picked Sons because I was like, man, how many more can I rewatch, you know? And so I picked that, and I haven't seen the first season in like fucking forever. So I was like, oh yeah, I remember bits and pieces of it, but you know, when you rewatch old shows, for me in particular, I look at little nuances to see the shit that I might have missed or forgotten. And like you get the overall big picture of it. You know, he finds the fucking journal. Yeah, and then you see Clay and Gemma like fucking trying to like their little power play shit and family and like yeah they're family but it's a fucked up family and like you see like how all that you know if what you remember from the last season how they get up and like now it's like everything's like yeah for the club and you slowly start see morphs into like individual shit and like it's like some people get like truly fucked over, you know, and that's just like, yeah, I'm rewatching. I'm like, oh yeah, like I remember this, and I forgot that the other guy was an Elvis impersonator and shit. and shit. And then like the first
Yeah.
episode, he goes and they fuck up some Korean guy or something, and like it was all fucked up. And I was like, and I'm thinking like, I don't think today this show they would get made today, because all the racial slurs they throw in that show, even on the pilot episode, and today people would be having a fucking fit about it.
You think so? I think they would still be able to make it. I mean,
they use the N-word, they use racial slurs for Mexicans, Asian people, and Jews and stuff, and there's Nazis or Aryan people and shit, and like, yeah, it's kind of today's world. It'd be, I think, too much for Generation Z and millennials and all that shit. It might be too in their face for them.
That's what makes it a good show, man.
Yeah.
It's like it's real. Like those people are flawed, and you can like see that, and that's what makes it more real versus like Pleasantville. Like who the hell is gonna want to see a show about Pleasantville where everything's all happy go lucky and no one's like flawed in any way?
I agree, man. If it's contemporary to the time and it's accurate, then yeah, you got to have all that stuff. I mean, what are we not going to have? Any more concentration camp, Hitler movies, so forth? Because, you still have to have movies like that and TV shows that have tough subjects, but that are true to the time. And, there were racist people back in the day, and there is even racist people now. Maybe not as many or less so, or depending on who you talk.
No.
Depending on who you talk about, maybe there's.
You mean the mayor of Chicago is not racist? He's not gonna pick on white reporters and shit. Just people of color. That's not racist.
I heard about that.
I think I didn't really not to get too sidetracked, but I didn't really care for that too much myself. But when I heard another reporting about her, she said that she was trying to promote, black and brown
inclusivity by excluding white people.
well, she said for any kind of one-on-one, like interviews, but if there's something to that effect, and from my understanding, it's only for a short period of time.
Uh-huh.
Like it was like for this month, or I forget what her timetable was, but it was in the hopes to try to promote, more diversity.
No, yeah, I get it. Let's promote diversity by excluding a certain race. That's cool.
Right.
I digress, but real quick, a little bit of not too quick here, but yeah, we have I'm an avid wrestling fan, and for all that Newjack passed away recently. Was probably I think me and you saw him when we went to that pay-per-view. Then I'm trying to recall we was at that pay-per-view at the Odeum, and he was always a controversial wrestler with his antics and his promos about being a gangster and all that shit. So yeah, it was interesting. He kind of, when we started watching wrestling, especially ECW, he was jumping off of shit and shanking people. So that was pretty awesome. And then Steve Mongo McMichael, in this town, we're from Chicago. He played for the Bears, the '85 Super Bowl, and he was also a wrestler, a former four horseman. He has ALS, and they did a charity event from this past week where they tried to raise money. Ric Flair was there, and some of the former players he played with the '85 Bears were there, Mike Ditka and such. So, yeah, I mean, it's pretty. I mean, it kind of sucks. I mean, the older I get, and people I grew up watching getting sick or passing away, it reminds me. It reminds me of my age. That I'm getting fucking older, and everything when I was younger, I thought was fucking cool. You see these people passing away, it's like, fuck, man. And like, I start to think like, I think Newjack died of a heart attack, and Mongo just has ALS. I don't know if it's like a family or he has some genetic stuff or that's from football or wrestling. He kind of, I think, believe in one of the interviews he mentioned, he thinks it might be from that, but I don't know. I don't know much about how you get that disease. But yeah, I mean, to see him now, he's like in a wheelchair and stuff and can't control his arms. It was kind of fucking sad to see him in that state from, playing professional football and then becoming a wrestler, even though he wasn't a great wrestler. He did some crazy shit, but yeah, it was kind of it took me aback.
Yeah, I think Newjack, I don't remember him wrestling at the show that we went to see at the Odeum, but he was different, man. He was a different wrestler. He's the one that kind of showed me that they could have intro music that was like current music. Well, that too, that was his other, little stick, is that he would play it throughout his entire match. But it was like the first, because I wasn't really a big ECW fan. You were, Andy. And then when I got to see some of these matches, and then they had like real legit, Van Halen music, Murder Was the Case songs and stuff like that, Ice Cube. And I was just like, wow, man. I'm like, they're actually playing real music and it's not some like fake song that they made up.
Or they're trying to copy a sound or something.
Right. So that was what I first recall about Newjack, that he was unique and different, and it really caught my eye.
Yeah.
And he did have a really extreme persona, jumping off of high things and jumping through tables, and so he was a risk taker for sure.
So one of the things, like, I don't know if you remember, Dan, you had the cheater box for cable for all you young fans. When you had to order pay-per-view, not over your streaming, you had to order through your cable company and then had a box. I'm like, dude, like, can I come over and watch this ECW pay-per-view? And you're like, yeah, sure. And we were over there, and he was fighting Vic Grimes, that big dude. And you remember, I remember they were up on top, and they were hesitating. I saw the shoot interview afterwards, but basically what happened is they were supposed to flip over together into like a table, and Vic Grimes is... he jumps over, and then he fucking he was hesitant to jump, so they kind of Newjack dragged him with him, and as Newjack landed on the table, his whole body landed on his head. And I remember watching this at your house, thinking like, God damn, I think that motherfucker is dead or something. And
didn't he sue him for like murder or some shit?
Well, what happened is his body landed on his head. Like, this is like a 400, 500-pound man, right? And he landed on Newjack's head. He had a cracked skull. He said he got left blind in one eye because of it. And I remember watching that in your house, and I'm thinking like, fuck, man, you can't fake that, right? Like, this is insane. And then years down the road, they had a rematch in XPW in California somewhere, and they were like in a scaffold, and Newjack said he brought a stun gun, and I don't know if you might have watched it with me, or I had a tape of it or something. He brought a stun gun with him. He fucking stunned him and threw him off that table, and he bounced off one of the top ropes and landed like at the edge of a table. I don't know if you ever seen that. And he goes, yeah, payback's a motherfucker, he said in the shooting interview. And that was like fucking crazy, man.
Damn.
Yeah, that introduced me even to the Japanese extreme fighting, where they have like barbed wire for the ropes.
Fucking Cactus Jack out there.
Yeah, man. No, it was some crazy stuff back in the day. And definitely Newjack was like one of those first guys that like brought it to my forefront, where I started watching it a little bit.
Yeah, I remember you guys are the ones that got me into ECW too. And when you guys went to the Odeum, I remember watching it on TV, I think. And I remember seeing Sandman go by Andy, and you guys were in the crowd and shit. Yeah, it was crazy time, dude.
Yeah, it was. I don't recall him. I think he was, but I gotta dig out the video. I got it on one of these hard drives, but just to see what the hell I can remember, because Newjack was crazy, man. I mean, if you're really bored, just go to YouTube, put Newjack shoot interview, you see all sorts of shit. And he talks about that when he landed on him, and then when he went to wrestle him at that other promotion, how he's like, yeah, I'm going to fucking flip this motherfucker. I mean, they were like 20, 25 feet in the air, dude. This wasn't like no 5, 6 feet. Like, he had him fucking up. I thought, when I saw that, I'm like, this motherfucker's dead. That big guy, Vic Grimes, and he survived, and nothing came of it. So, yeah, I mean, it's fucking insane.
Yeah. Mondo, Stephen McMichael, I don't remember him too fondly in wrestling. I didn't think he was a great wrestler, but I always appreciated him just because he was a Chicago Bear. So I watched him in WCW because of that. But otherwise, I didn't really think he was a great wrestler character.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, man, what a Bears player. And yeah, it's too bad to hear that he's struggling with this. But yeah, man, sometimes life throws you a curveball and you don't know, man. It's coming up.
Yeah. Like I said, it sucks. I mean, I think he has a GoFundMe, and Newjack has a GoFundMe. I mean, check it out. Google search it. See what you can find out if you feel like you want to help him out. But yeah, I mean, it's like it's wrestling, the wrestling business. So, but you know, going forward here, I see Nan mentions here he fucking finally watched something off of my recommendations, because he rarely does that, people. I saw you watched Hellier. What did you think? Did you go down that fucking crazy rabbit hole? Because the way the show started to what it ended is completely, it did like a one fucking 80. It was like all over the place, you know?
Right. This show is exactly how you just said it right now. It flips around. I gotta admit, man, after I watched like the first 2 episodes, I think it was,
Mm-hmm.
I was like super enamored with it. I was just like, holy shit, what the hell is going on? And especially I think the first episode, it really introduces it in as like they don't know what it is. So there's a lot of mystery. There's a lot of, all right, he got this letter in the mail from this guy, and then they kind of try to decipher it, and then he got another one, and I was like really hooked, man. The first 2 episodes really hooked me really good, and I was just, because I do dig that stuff. Maybe not as much as you, Andy, but I do dig, Sasquatch stuff, UFO stuff, strange phenomenons. But I gotta say, man, after the beginning episodes, towards the end, it really left me like, there's no way I'm watching season 2. There's no way I'm going to invest any more of my time into this thing. I watched it to the end. I was ready for like a pop at the end. Like, all right, this is what's going to happen.
On too long.
Yeah, those last, I think, 2 episodes when they started like filming in the forest, and then in they're
the
like
caves.
I was just like, this is too long, man. This is too much. I'm like, you don't have anything else to show. Just end the show already. I mean, I don't know what else. I was frustrated towards the end, and I know one of our mutual friends, he's really praising season 2 because I don't know if he finished watching it, but he was watching some of it. And I can't give this show any more time, man. I'm not watching season 2. They might be on to season 3. I don't know, but I was left like, this dragged on too much. But the very start was so awesome, man. It was really good, really engaging. It really had me hooked, and I was kind of disappointed that it ended really with a thud.
Yeah, it was. I like you. Then I was fucking super. The first 2 episodes are great, and then the fucking ending with the stupid box and putting headphones on, and they were talking. It was too fucking hard. I'm like, the fucking tree shit, and then they're like in the mountains, and it just got fucking weird, and it was a chore to watch. And then they're all giving their experiences, and like they're talking about their experiences, and I was just like, oh, man, what a fucking disappointment. And they had that stupid book, right? And then they met that lady that supposedly lived, or the family knew this alien, right? And it was just like, what happened to the fucking Gremlins, dude? They just gave up on that. That lady that was emailing them from prison or whatever the fuck. And I was just like, well, this is all over the fucking place, man. And like, it took them years to the first season. It was like years to put all this together. And yeah, I mean, it's just, yeah, the last episodes, I think the first, like towards the end of the third episode, I was just like, I don't know what the fuck's going on anymore. And then like the fourth and fifth, those were a chore to watch because I think there was like 5 episodes, if I remember correctly. And I remember I'm like, yeah, I'm not liking this no more. And then the fifth one, it was just a fucking chore to watch. And then when I was done, I'm like, geez, like what the fuck did I just watch?
Right. No, man.
The first 2 episodes were the best. Like without a doubt, it was like, damn, this shit got me, man. And then like you hear their backstories, the couple, they got the podcast, they got the website, they get pictures and all this shit. And then it just like it went into some fucking bizarro world, which okay, kind of makes sense. But the last 2, like, yeah, and then it just like I don't know, man. I don't know what to make of it no more.
Yeah, I was gonna start watching the Sasquatch after this because after I saw those first episodes, I'm like, Andy is right about this. I gotta watch the Sasquatch after this. But after I finished watching Hellier, I'm like, I'm not watching that Sasquatch thing, man.
Dude,
I'm
the
like,
Sasquatch
is it as bad as this? I'm like, I'm not watching this.
They're talking. There's a guy that when I give my review, there's a group in Texas. They go hunting for Bigfoot and. They claim they shot him and they're out there like months at a time. It's pretty fucking. I'm like, that's the first time I've never heard of. People are like, we're gonna go fucking videotape them. These motherfuckers, they're like, nah, that ain't. No matter what we bring pictures of it, no one's gonna believe us unless we bring a body. And it's all for scientific reason. And their goal is to hunt it to get the body for scientific research. And they claim they seen them, but I mean. But you're right. They claim, but until you bring a body, even that's probably gonna get scrutinized to hell. So, and that's the first of all these documentaries I've ever seen about Bigfoot. They say like we're out here hunting this motherfucker. We're gonna shoot him. I was like, holy shit, yeah. That's a new point of view. Yeah.
Think about this in the future. There's supposedly gonna be cameras that are so small that they're microscopic, like you can't even fucking see them. And there's rumors, right, conspiracy stuff, that they're going to be released everywhere so that everyone is recorded at every single moment and nobody has any privacy anywhere. So imagine that, and then Bigfoot eventually, you'd have no choice but to either find him or prove that he doesn't exist.
Yeah. Something like that happens for sure.
At this point, I mean, just to bring it back, I don't think any video or any fucking photo is ever gonna be proof enough for anybody. They have to bring a fucking body because I saw a guy make a documentary in Canada. He had fucking full blown videos of fucking Bigfoots and like you could see their face and everything, and everybody's like, "Oh, that guy's a wacko." But it's clear as day, HD, 1080p shit, and people are like, "Oh, this is all fake shit." So, I mean, at this point, unless there's always gonna be people that don't believe it, but you could bring some footage and people are gonna say it's a fake or a deep fake or whatever the fuck you want to call it. But you need to me at this point you need a fucking body.
Yeah, one of my cousin's husband, he's really into Bigfoot and Sasquatch. He goes Sasquatch hunting or watching shit. Or something, and he goes to the forest preserve over here by like Irving Park. And he goes through all those forest preserves there, and he looks for nests. And sometimes he live streams it on Facebook, and he's really into this. He's constantly posting videos of like new Bigfoot sightings.
Did you hear that? Did you see that?
And I started watching a few of them at the start, because I got intrigued. But man, a lot of them are so like, it's like you said. A video, I don't think it's going to prove it anymore. Even if it's HD in your face, he's there like all in the front. I don't think people are going to believe it because I've seen some videos and I'm just like, nah, man, that's a guy in a suit or that could be anything. It's kind of too far in the distance kind of thing. So I think you're right, man. I think people have dismissed this for so long that you're going to have some more proof other than just a video. But
in today's world, what they can do with deep fakes, it's just fucking crazy, and people are now. I think they're at this point. Their video is just not gonna be enough. I mean, unless they like fucking land and there's multiple videos. Even when there's multiple videos of one thing, people still dispute that shit. And so, yeah, I mean, at this point, I think you need a body.
Yeah, the other thing that I watched that was, not recommended, but some per Noel's conversation was Mortal Kombat. I had seen it after he mentioned it at the podcast. I'm like, yeah, I got to go watch it. And so I ended up watching Mortal Kombat, the movie, the new one. And I got to say, man, it was pretty good. I enjoyed it. I liked the whole new mythology that they were kind of building. Didn't really care too much for the new character that they created to kind of build that, we got to have somebody that doesn't know so that we can give them dialogue as far as how everything got started. Otherwise, how do you let the audience know that this is how Mortal Kombat is, kind of thing?
Yeah.
So I understand the need for the character, but all the rest of the stuff was awesome. All the Scorpion stuff, all the Sub-Zero stuff, even the Raiden stuff I thought was kind of cool. So I really dug the movie. I think the only knock that I have for it is that it needed some techno music, man. Come on. How can you not use any of the OG techno music from the original movie?
Well, they do use it. It's at the end, though.
Right, just at the very end. But, I mean, It's like you should have peppered it throughout, had it in the first act, just had, not all of it. I understand they're going for a different vibe, but just have like one little sound and then another little one in the middle act and then, at the end like they had it. And it was cool that they had it at the end. So it did give me a pop from there. I was just like, oh, shit, cool, man. They got that little techno music. But it's so iconic to Mortal Kombat, the movie from the first run that they did, that I was just like, this is the only thing kind of missing from it. But otherwise, it was a cool movie. Did you get a chance to watch it yet, Andy?
Flick? Nah, man. I got HBO Max. I could watch it. I could watch the Kong one. I was just like, I'm kind of sound like a dick, but I don't have time for that shit no more, man. I gotta watch like Hellier and shit, grow my mind, man, about fucking crypto shit. Cause that, like, I'd rather watch the original than this shit. And like, I'm at this point where I'm like, fuck, man, can I give 2 hours of my fucking time to watch this? And I know I sound like a dick. I'm like, nah, man. Maybe I'll watch clips of it enough on YouTube so I can piece the whole movie together.
It doesn't sound like a dick. It just sounds sad. You're rewatching Sons of Anarchy and all these other shows, and it's like,
I know it's good. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I guess that's true. I guess that's true.
That's what I was saying. Like, I'd rather watch. Like, I watched Wonder Woman. Like, all right, man. I watched Wonder Woman 1984, and I was like, yeah, this fucking sucked. Like, I lost 2 hours of my life.
Yeah, you should have watched Mortal Kombat instead.
Zack Snyder's Justice League, because it's 4 hours, and I'm like, what if I watch and go, yeah, this fucking still sucks.
But it's like, it's so strange that you watch like the garbage, but you like the stuff that people say is good. You're like, nah. Like Wonder Woman 84.
Yeah, that was bad, dude.
Everybody said it was bad. Like, I'm surprised you watched it.
Yeah, because there was nothing to watch. We were like fucking knee deep in the pandemic.
Right.
And I'm like, I should have just busted out some other shit. Like, yeah. It's just, I got a weird mindset lately about fucking movies, and I'm like, I'm so like, not to get political, like all this woke shit, and I'm just like, ugh. Like, I don't want this shit pushed down my throat. Like, fuck this.
Yeah, I hear you that.
That's not. But like, I do want, like I said, I want to watch it, but I'm like, okay. Like, what happens if it's a popcorn flick, right? So you're supposed to enjoy it, and I'm just like, it is what it is. I guess, I don't know.
Yeah, I thought it was cool movie to watch if you're into it, even a little bit, the video games or whatever. It's a cool little movie to watch, and characters are built up really cool.
Real quick, like on the Warner Brothers side of it, they're coming up with Dune. I don't know if you guys ever watched any of the old Dune movies or know about the books. They remade it, and it's gonna be on Warner Brothers, and like these are like epic books and shit. So I want to see that, but I have a feeling I'm gonna be so fucking disappointed. But I'm gonna fucking watch it because I like the Dune shit, and like, we'll see what happens. And like, I'm trying to not let my negativity prevent me from watching it.
I mean, I think with Mortal Kombat though, I think you won't be as disappointed as you're envisioning.
Right.
The action was awesome. What wouldn't you say, so Daniel?
Yeah, I thought all the action scenes and the the CG, and I think Sub Zero really takes the movie and he takes it with him, man. So I really dug it. I thought it was really cool. But I think that's enough of our week, guys. I think we should jump into our article of the week. And our article for this week is something that everybody's dealing with right now is the COVID and its masks. It's from CNN Business, and now since news moves so fast, it's kind of old, even though it just came out on the 18th of May. But Target, Home Depot, CVS, and other stores drop face mask requirements. The article doesn't have too much in it, reading wise, other than all of them just say somewhat of the same rhetoric. Target won't require a fully vaccinated shopper and workers to wear masks. The company said in an announcement on Monday. Face coverings will continue to be strongly recommended for guests and team members who are not fully vaccinated, and will continue to increase safety and cleaning measures, including social distancing throughout our stores. That's what Target had said, and most of the rest have the same. I think they just copied and pasted the same speech to all of these other stores. But it looks like it's getting back to normal, or at least that's what these stores want to try to do, get back to normal. And I think it's fine with all the numbers, the way they're showing, and especially for people that don't believe that it's such a huge pandemic to begin with. I'm sure they're happy as hell. But I think it's rightfully so somewhat, that we should move into this direction. The only thing that I'm worried about is there's going to be people that are going to say they're fully vaccinated, and how do you prove it? And you can't go up to people and be like, hey, are you fully vaccinated? You kind of have to have the honor system, and there's no way to really enforce that. So I guess to you guys, what's your quick thoughts on masks being removed in stores?
I'll say it again, dude. Like, if you have a vaccine, what does it matter? If you have a vaccine, then you should be safe. You should be happy that you're not going to be dealing with this in the same way others have dealt with it, even if you do get it. So it's like at that point, just like when you get a flu shot, you're not like, hey, do you have the flu? Do you have the flu shot? Do you not have the flu shot? You just go about life. Once you get the flu shot, you go about life. And if you get the flu, it won't be as bad. If you don't get it, thank God. So that's where I'm at with this.
Yeah, I mean, it's what have they told us? Trust the science, right? And then so the CDC director came out and she's like, "Oh, you're fully vaccinated. You don't got to wear a mask inside or out, just like hospitals and some other shit." And people lose their fucking mind, dude. It got politicized rather quickly. I thought where people would get excited, they made it into like a fucking negative. I mean, on Twitter, and like, oh, I'm gonna still wear my mask. Fuck these people who are liars, and they got really, really. It became like a negative, like immediately. And I was just like, okay, so what happened to trust the science? And then you got Biden up there, kind of
Half
saying it's a
asleep.
good thing, and then he's like, well, if let's not mock the people who still wear a mask. I'm like, what? Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, it was just very strange. And then he's like, oh, if you don't get vaccinated, you're gonna pay the price or something. It was just very strange, but but to my opinion, back to the mask. I mean, Fauci's flip flopped on it. Everybody, he started deferring more. If you read what he's been saying lately, to what the CDC says, and these are the number one, the government agency about diseases and such. And I mean, they're the ones who kind of have not have the final say, but these are the people that are supposed to guide us through this. And if they say this, and like right away, it was like a negative thing, and I was shocked. And people were like, "Who's gonna check?" So what? We're gonna go walking around with fucking like stars of David saying we're vaccinated or some shit, or you're not vaccinated. Like it's a slippery slope, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
kind of shocked to see the position that the American people are on this. I thought they would embrace it more about without the mask, and no, it turns into like people want to snitch and be virtue call signaling about, oh, he's not vaccinated. Go, you need to wear a mask. Like, dude, if you want to wear a mask, wear a mask. Nobody's gonna make fun of you. None of this shit. If if you're vaccinated, whatever. It's just, I mean, it's just to me, I'm kind of saddened to see how it got politicized so quickly.
Right.
I
Go
think
ahead.
part of it is just the way the media portrays
Yes.
certain opinions. So
Mm-hmm.
there'll be certain people that are vocal, and it's usually the minority, the woke minority that are vocal, and those are the comments that get uploaded and get like praised and all that. But I have a feeling like the majority of people are like me and you, and we want some sense of normalcy again.
No, yeah. I mean, absolutely. It's I mean, I've said it from day one. I mean, I feel like obviously the media kind of scared us into this. Initial numbers, millions of people were going to die. I remember watching that press conference with I was like, fuck, this is serious. And we kind of learned as we go. And what it became into now, and if you look at the data, like I always said, like look at the numbers. I mean, is it easy? It's real. It's easily transmissible to other people, and to that. And yes, and it affects certain people. It affects everybody, but a little bit different. But if you look at the overall recovery rate, it's like 99%, maybe low 98, like 98.9 or something. It's the recovery rate is really high. And then if you look at the people who die from it in the United States in particular, they had other issues, other health issues, heart disease, diabetes, they're overweight, older people. I mean, just look at that. And like same thing with the vaccines. Millions of people have gotten it. And like in Illinois, they started tracking, I don't know if it was Illinois, but I saw a number out of the millions of vaccines they've given out. I think 30 people have died that were fully vaccinated. And I'm like, okay, that's a pretty low number from millions and millions. And people are like saying that shit. So, but like, look how many they gave out. So overall, yeah, it's not like some fucking vaccine virtue caller, but I mean, the numbers say it's all right. I mean, down the road, we'll see. It was kind of rushed through, but, we'll see.
Right. I just Googled right now to see what the numbers are right now. Because you mentioned death in the millions and how it didn't happen. Well, there actually 3.46 million people have died, supposedly. I know
No,
that.
in the United States, they said it was going to be
Oh, in the
2.5.
United
And
States,
I think right
period.
now we're like a 500,000. And they said that
Oh,
was going to
okay.
happen within a certain time frame if we don't bend the curve. Yeah, overall, millions in the world have died. But in the United States,
Plus,
yeah,
Right.
it's like 500,000.
it's been proven already that some of these deaths were attributed
Yes.
to other cases, like or
Yes.
they were the cause of other cases. But they said like, oh no, it's COVID. It's not cancer. It's COVID. It's like no, this guy had cancer. He died from it. He happened to have COVID in the system. That doesn't mean he died from COVID.
Right. It's like it contributed the same way that I have diabetes and I also have hypertension. So if I die, are they going to fight over what I passed on, whether it was natural causes, whether it was diabetes, or whether it was hypertension? I don't know. I don't know how they classify stuff like that. I don't know if it gets a check mark in both the boxes. Like, all right, it's a check mark in both hypertension and diabetes. So now that's an extra statistic of somebody passing away of those conditions. So I don't really know typically how they control that
Yeah,
number.
I think what during the pandemic, I don't want to get into it. I mean, I've seen stuff, but yeah, I mean, I think because COVID was like the thing, and I think how the financing works, maybe that's why. I mean, again, I don't know. I mean, that's my opinion on it, but yeah, I mean, but overall, the big issue has been the death count, and and lot of it is older people, and they had other issues besides COVID. And there's a lot of people who were very old and still survived COVID. So, I mean, yeah, there's a lot of shit. You got to start breaking down the metrics. And I think I was reading people who are obese that got COVID. They were the biggest chunk that were in hospitals, ICUs, and all that. I read that, and
You jumped on the treadmill after that?
I was like, hell no, man, I gotta get a pizza. I need food to calm me down, man.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, it's just, yeah, it sucks, dude. Like, in America's, we eat a lot. I mean, we love eating here. Even when it's healthy, we eat a lot of it. So it just, yeah. I mean, it's just, it goes the state of that states our country's issue with, like, food.
Right.
We love it here. We celebrate when we're sad, we eat. When we're happy, we eat. When we're fucking doing everything, eating's involved in everything we do in this country.
Right. I guess getting back to the article, or somewhat the mask thing, I think it sounds like we're all somewhat on the same page. We all kind of feel that the numbers show it, or the numbers didn't even really show it to begin with, a huge pandemic, according to some of us here. But I think it was good to be cautious and have mask mandates to kind of bend the curve. So I think it's something that was needed. Even though some people argue that the numbers weren't as bad to maybe require it. But I think that maybe because of those actions, it helped to mitigate so that the numbers didn't get bad. But either way, I believe Noel put it perfectly. If you're vaccinated, you should be protected from COVID. So you shouldn't have anything to worry about. If other people that are not vaccinated are walking around and coughing up COVID, it shouldn't matter, because the vaccine is 98% effective and you shouldn't get COVID. And if you do get it, it should not be as severe, or at least according to the data.
So, I mean, going back to the mask thing, like, I thought by now we would see more videos. Like here where we live in Illinois, the Chicagoland area, we still have a mask mandate by our by the executive order by the governor. Now, he did mention that, after the CDC guidelines, like, he's going to reevaluate that. But I thought I would start seeing more videos. That's what I was kind of hoping for. Like, man, I don't need no fucking masks, and people arguing at the grocery store and shit. Like, how people get.
Are you sure
That's
the governor? Are you sure the governor hasn't turned it over? Because I thought I had read last week that he turned it over on Tuesday. And when I went to do a grocery pickup at Walmart yesterday, there was people walking in and out of the store without a mask. And
I haven't seen
it was like business as usual.
On Twitter, I follow all that, and I didn't see anything from the Daily Herald, the Chicago Sun-Times, or the Tribune. I just saw a tweet
busy Sasquatch hunting.
I gotta take his mask off. But yeah, I didn't see anything. I know he said he was gonna evaluate it, but I haven't seen. Or you think it would be like big news? Because everywhere I went to the grocery store this weekend, it still says mask mandate required for. And I went to a Jewel.
All right, here it says Illinois, Chicago Tribune, Illinois drops mask mandate. Chicago keeps status quo. This was 5 days ago.
Okay.
So yeah, I could have sworn it was Tuesday that prisoner came out and said they're going to follow the CDC. It's only required in hospitals and in transit, and in nursing homes and stuff like that.
I'm gonna try it out today.
But otherwise, there's no mask required. You can go into Walmart. You can do whatever you got to do and just walk around with your dick hanging out. It's cool to go.
Like, I got a notification from the casino here in Elgin. They're like, "Oh, you don't need a mask if you're vaccinated." And right away, people started, because I've been to the casino once about like 2 months ago, and man, even I was like, man, it's fucking packed in here. Like, I got uncomfortable, and I left, and there was a lot of old people up in there with oxygen tanks and wheelchairs, and it was crowded. And then I think this Friday they released something like, you don't gotta wear a mask in the casino if you're fully vaccinated. And right away, how are you gonna validate this? Is this the honor system? And then people got all fucking defensive. So I'm like, oh, all right, cool, man. And then I was telling my wife, and I'm like, maybe we'll try it out in a couple weeks or something and see how it goes.
I think kind of like you had mentioned, or Noel mentioned, I can't remember who mentioned it. If you're worried about it, just keep wearing your mask. But technically, according to the shot, Pfizer and whatever the other companies were, Moderna and Johnson and Johnson, you should be protected. I mean, that's the whole point of getting the vaccine, right? I mean, that you should be protected, and if you do get it, just like the flu shot, it won't be as severe. You'll get, maybe a cold, maybe a slight fever. You'll feel a little shitty for a few days, but you'll bounce back and not need hospitalization. So it's time to get back to business, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's see, I didn't know that. So maybe when I went to do it, they said they still needed a mask, and not everybody in there had a mask. So
Well,
I know
Prisoner did
Walmart
say
for a
that.
fact
He did say that
he's
it's
gonna leave
up
it
to
to the
the
businesses.
individual businesses. So there might be Jules might still require you to wear a mask, but just like the article mentioned, CVC, Walmart, Home Depot, Macy's. There was a couple other on that list, and I'm
I
sure it's
think
grown since
Target,
then.
yeah.
Right, Target. I'm sure it's grown since then. So I would suspect by next week or by the time we get together again, all if unless there's like a huge spike, I would imagine all stores would remove this
I
mask
think by
mandate.
Memorial Day next weekend, when this is probably gonna drop, we'll probably see that you can really see what the hell's going on. I think you see how people are gonna you kind of gauge how people feel about it, but you already see people ain't shy about getting together no more, and some people wear masks and some don't, and like mostly it's families. But I think when you go to big areas like that or like stores and shit, I think you're gonna start gauging to see the people's perception or how they feel, how comfortable they are with if they're gonna have it or not.
I'm just gonna go about my business and mind my own business and hope others do the same, and that's it. That's all I can do. I can't control anybody else. I can only control what I do and how I feel. So yeah, I'm just gonna keep on living, and hopefully people understand that yeah, we got to go back to normal. And if they don't, well, they're gonna be struggling.
Damn right, man. This is America, man. You got rights. You can do whatever the hell you
And this
want.
is the problem. This is Biden's America, man. That's the
Yeah, man.
problem. That old man.
Hopefully not for much longer, man. There's talks going on about impeachments and stuff like that, so we'll see.
Did you see real quick? Did you see that photo of him driving and then the alleged Photoshop of the second steering wheel?
Yeah, man. When I saw that, when I saw somebody dropping that, oh, he's fake driving.
Yeah,
I went to go look at the original, and the steering wheel's not there. And I'm like, man, is this the world we're living in, where people are putting out this fake news?
but don't worry. Then yeah, it got fact checked by all these people, and I was just like, this is so stupid. I don't even know. I think it came out. It was Photoshop.
But it just it makes me believe less and less in the news all the time.
Yeah, I don't
Stuff
trust
like
it.
this,
Yeah.
that you can't just watch something and believe it. You got to watch something, and then you got to do research to see if it's even true before you put a thought into it. So it's scary times, man. I remember watching the news and just believing what they were showing me when I was younger. And now the days have changed, man. I don't know.
Going back to Bigfoot, like you saw that picture, like look at the picture, and people, your gut instinct tradition is to trust it, but now in the age we live in, they can do so much shit. Like you gotta have, and then like the people who are in charge of making sure they're full of shit too, like political fact and Snopes and all this and CNN and like, oh, all these people said it's correct. Like, yeah, but you guys have been wrong in the past. And then when they call you out on it, you fucking say people are full of shit when you're just as full of shit as everybody else. So it takes some due diligence to see and to search to see what the fuck is real and what's fake. And it's getting harder and harder.
Yeah, speaking about that real quick, there's an episode of NCIS Los Angeles where they have an AI that these terrorists use to hack not only government website or government information, but they hack like specific people that are in NCIS, and so they're able to get their face and their voice, and so they can make calls like if they're them, and people start doing like they start following orders that they were never given like legitimately, and then they have like webcam face conferences, and it looks just like them. It looks just like them, talks like them, and then they ultimately they did all this to kind of bring back old military leaders that had previously died. So like imagine if Osama bin Laden made a video and it looks legit, it looks like he's still alive, and everybody's like, "Holy shit, he rose from the dead. Let's follow him." You know what I mean? So like it's a crazy episode, but it got me thinking like, dude, this is like not very far off from what I think is possible already.
Research. I'm gonna just throw this out for you, Noel, and everybody. Project Bluebeam, and just research that and let me know what you guys thought. Check it out. Noel, it's kind of what you're talking about, but this is stuff from like fucking the 70s and 80s.
Yeah, man. The only thing you should listen to, and that's the truth, is on Freeform Network, man. But speaking of Freeform Network, we'd like to thank you all for listening. Remember, you can follow Freeform Network on Facebook and Twitter at Freeform Network. Send in those questions and suggestions, ffnquestions@gmail.com. Visit our webpage, man. That's where we have all the good stuff, freeformnetwork.podbean.com. Whatever device you're using, wherever you're listening to us, hit that like and subscribe button. Hit that share button, man. Send it off to friends and family, people that you think might be interested in us. We're just some Chicagoland guys that talk about topics that are in the news and talk about our days. But tune in, share, like, subscribe. Again, for Freeform Radio, my name is Daniel. I got Andy.
It's all good, man. Let us know what's going on in you guys' world, if you're going to take that mask on or take it off.
And we got Noel.
Hey, thank you all for listening, and we hope you doing all good.
Hell yeah, man. For Freeform Radio, signing off. Enjoy your day.
That was cool, Dad.